that sleepest, arise from the dead.
Read the Bible, you'll find out that God's not too happy with what's going on around us.
Redeem the time, because the days are evil.
The Bible has not changed.
Boldly proclaim the restoration and preservation of Christian values in America.
Satan has brainwashed a whole nation.
As goes the church, so goes the nation.
Nobody's convicted of anything anymore.
And now, here's Last Call with your host, B.J. Edwards.
And away we go. Good morning, folks. Hope you're all doing well, keeping warm. Woo, wow. Are these interesting?
Yeah. We got snow on the ground.
Yeah, there is. That's
double.
That white stuff that doesn't burn?
I don't know. I haven't tried that experiment.
Okay. We have a great program for you this morning. Yes. We're going to press on with the Carolina situations until somebody gets your attention. They need help down there, folks. Okay. If the news media spent 1/10 of the time that they are talking about Nancy Guthrie or Kamala Harris or even the Olympics, 1/10 of the time,
or the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, there's a halftime presentation there, folks. May you live in interesting times, and we certainly are. He who controls the information controls the world, and that's what we're trying to do, is get the information out. Circling back to North Carolina, and then we're going to talk about election integrity next hour, which is going to be very interesting because there's some decisions that are going to be made next week, and I'm going to tell you what the decision is going to be before you go through all the worries about it. How you doing this morning, Mr. Anderson?
I'm doing pretty good. Up and bushy-tailed, as they say.
Yeah, you look good since you quit drinking. You really do.
I'm still drinking this Java stuff.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm on a local social network. I'm not going to mention the name of it because I'm already working towards getting kicked off of it by telling the truth. But it's just an incredible liberal, and it's all across the USA. You can guess what it is. They're committed to neighbor safety and reducing the spread of misinformation on critical topics like elections and health emergencies. You know what those health emergencies would be, COVID? I mean, I wonder what they would be. Read more about what qualifies. Go ahead.
Those are two of the most deceiving topics to be talking about.
Yeah.
That's the least of our worries when we got people freezing in another state or two.
Yep. Well, to elevate and share accurate information about political news and events, we collaborate with nonpartisan organizations like Vote.org, local government agencies, and more. Manipulated media, which is basically what this is what they caution against. Contests must not use generic AI, etc. Next to our political misinformation policy prohibits false or misleading information about the cause of national or international acts of violence involving political figures. You cannot use the term illegal alien on this site.
Controlled speech, huh?
Mm-hmm. He who controls the information. This is, and I'm ornery. Okay, I got a touch of that in me. I'm ornery, so there's somebody on this social media put a video on there about Springfield, Ohio, and they had a newscaster there, and they were talking about how positive it was that everybody inside a Springfield, Ohio church and the swelling support for Haitians as deportation threat loom. They show a church, a Christian church, with a bunch of people there with regards to the Haitian threat. And what I wrote when I saw that. Of course, there was a lot of, liberal comments, but what I wrote is interesting. When posts, and I know this personally because I've been cautioned about it. When posts that feature, or for that matter, even hint of Christian religious thought, one, yours truly and others, are scolded for our intent of forcing Christianity down their throats. Keep in mind, this is a church that they're showing. It's just, and then I said, the same Christian and church, by the way, that says marriage is between one man and a woman and a lifelong committed with children and plenty of them. That post my post got taken down. Wow. He who controls the information. You got to get the word out. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
Well, all you do is mention the Bible and all of a sudden they discredit everything you say right away.
Yep.
And even if you don't mention the Bible and they pick up that maybe you're a Christian because you have morals, strange thing we have.
Mm-hmm.
We're suddenly forcing something down somebody's throat. I don't, the accusations just are relentless.
Well, it's intimidating to them. The truth is intimidating.
Absolutely, because they can't argue.
Yep. And our
all
government,
they can do is start calling you names.
Yeah, our government is just awful in terms of things like that. It's just crazy. By the way, I think it was Monday, February 2nd, was Ronald Reagan's birthday. I think about Ronald Reagan, and I think about Rush Limbaugh, and I think about Bob Hope and others. And these folks were supposedly, or they were representing righteousness and what we were really about as Americans. And as they die off, of course, you got Charlie Kirk, who got a little help with dying off. Super Bowl halftime show. Not going to talk about that. I talked about the policies.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's our disclaimer?
Oh, yeah. I got to get this down the road. You're right. You're about to listen to 2 hours of opinion and entertainment supplied by Last Call Radio. We're not where you can see the difference, by the way. We're not doctors, lawyers, politicians, professional journalists, nor do either of us have a doctorate degree in anything. Not that would make any difference. Our opinion, of course. We only ask you as an individual and or corporately not take our statements or those that we voice from others personal, nor do we recommend that you act on them as if they are facts, although they might very well be just that, facts. Again, that's our opinion. You're not required to listen to, act on, or repeat anything that you hear today, and that any information or opinion we present is meant for the good of the order and by no means intended to harm or threaten anyone. Put your sensitivity back in your pocket, folks. Put your sensitivity back in the pocket. We've been talking over the past few weeks about the situation in Western North Carolina. And I think, I'm maybe Norm or somebody can correct me on this, but I think there was over 100,000 homes that were destroyed by this incredible act of nature.
Ha ha.
I thought I'd get a comment from you there. But anyway, that's let's say, I think it's 126, something like that, 1,000 homes. That's 126,000 families. That isn't just 126,000 people, folks. These are families. You don't have a situation where you can go to downtown Smithville and pick your groceries up. Grocery stores they're out of there. What kind of services do these folks have, or do you even care? Do you even want to care? Who's helping out down there? And who's causing issues to those that are helping out? Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? What's needed down there? And I'll be honest with you, the folks that I have talked with that are down there and the folks that I've talked with that are up here, Betty, JC, Coach, others that are helping out, is just incredible. It's just absolutely positively incredible. And it doesn't, we're not talking about Democratic, Republican, okay? That politics doesn't enter here, folks.
Not at all.
This is in a, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I keep talking about where America is. That's at the top level. That's self-actualization. That's the Uber generation. You need something, just pick up the phone and call, and it'll be delivered to your house. And with AI, you don't even have to pick up and call. It'd just be sitting out front of your house, and you didn't even know you needed it until it's out there, and you go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Just absolutely incredible, folks, where we are. But this is an opportunity. And as you listen to these folks that are in Western North Carolina or in Tennessee or other places that have been hit by national disasters, you find out that we're back down to that initial level in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that is the basics: food, shelter, and in wintertime, heat. Who's providing that? If there's no services there, there's no wiring there, there's no bridges there, how do we get that to the folks? What do we do? Who does that? Who can help? Who is helping? We're going to get into all that today, and we have a great guest, Hollie. And Hollie, I often say that when you see a need, that you're calling. With Wayne and Bud and Betty and JC and the Sarah Packs, all those folks are helping down there. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say that couple from Arizona that you just named. They were way on the other side of the country and suddenly felt the call and dropped everything they were doing and sold goods and traveled out there to help. My goodness.
From warm Arizona to cold Western North Carolina.
Yeah. Now living in a camper, doing what they can.
Yep.
There's some amazing people that come out when the times call for it.
Amen.
When their ears are tuned to the Lord and His calling.
There is that. Let's take a break, Mr. Anderson. I think I had a small video there I wanted you to play to give you some idea of what we need to do here, folks.
Yeah.
You control
it's a play off of some people in another land doing what we're trying to do in our land.
Absolutely. And they're getting
out of Gaza, out of the dark. We decided to help others and to be part of Aid that bring water to places in the world that don't have water and help people in many, many ways. So Keith and I just came back from Kenya, and we went to a refugee camp called Kakuma, and people there are really, really starving and don't have water. To see a kid drinking brown water, for me, it broke my heart. And to see a child that's 15 years old and she's just had her second baby, she was crying, doesn't know what to do with herself, doesn't have any money. She was making beads to make money. And I know that Israel has done so much in 62 countries and are still doing so much in all the places that need help. So we wanted to meet Melania also for that, to put some influence on her husband, Donald Trump, to help the world, to help the starving people there, because they live in 40 degrees. That's very, very hot. They haven't even got a house. They haven't got any food. There's kids there that stand in a line and they get one meal a day. I can just say that after going through that and seeing that, I'm destroyed.
Yeah, we are so blessed, aren't we, to be able to we take for granted being able to have clean water and good food every day. Thank you all so much. Thanks for using your experiences to bless other people's lives.
Last Call with BJ Edwards. Real talk about real life.
What you just saw was a Fox News report. The couple there were kidnapped in Israel and spent, I think the wife spent a year going through the tunnels and being a captive, and the husband was almost 2 years doing the same thing. So now they're out, and good for them that they want to help other people that don't have access to clean water, to food, to shelter. And it's rightfully getting attention. And they talked about Kenya, but that's not Kenya, North Carolina, folks. That's not even in America. Where is the interview? Where is the interview with the folks that are helping out in Western North Carolina? I'll tell you where it is. It's right here and right now. And Melania, yeah. Norm, you're trying to get a hold of Melania, aren't you?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we've got a letter to her, and of course, I felt like from the beginning that the person that had the most influence over President Trump was Melania. So, yeah, we're trying to reach her. Unfortunately, the contact page that she had has been removed, and I don't know if that was because of the movie that came out. Maybe they were overwhelmed, but anyway, you can still get a letter to her going to the whitehouse.gov, and I think they'll forward that on to her. So yeah, we need to get to her, but we need to talk about North Carolina. And there's so many needs around the world, and I get that. And I came to the conclusion several years ago, the reason that these nations cannot feed their people is because they don't acknowledge God. They're into they worship other gods, and we know the word says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." And so they need a spiritual awakening in the leadership, and then they can feed their people.
Got it. Hollie from Western North Carolina, welcome to Last Call.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking about Western North Carolina and the Helene survivors.
Yeah, we need to get this started. This is
we do.
I don't know why, and I'm embarrassed that it took me over a year and a half to get hit in the head with this, but we're here and we're now, and it's very important.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. You are one of many. There's been a complete blackout as far as I'm concerned. Even the 1-year anniversary was pitiful, and that was the local news in our state. It was pitiful. They don't want you to know.
Well, yeah, they're probably a little embarrassed about not having done anything. Hollie, when this initially happened in September of 24, what were you doing at the time?
I am a stay-at-home mom and a homeschool mom and a homesteader. So my responsibility is homework, home stuff.
Okay.
And I'm a North Carolina native. So that's why it really affected me.
Now, did it affect you physically, or were you away from the damage?
I'm in the middle of the state, in the Piedmont. I'm about 3 hours away from Western North Carolina, but it affected me because I love those mountains and prefer the mountains over the coast any day. And to see the destruction and knowing the way God created those mountains, I knew that there was going to be a lot of devastation. And once I had an opportunity to see the devastation, and not with my physical eyes, but I studied the ham radios and a lot of the boots on the ground that could respond immediately. I don't know. I just felt this intense grief. I just felt this intense call like I've never felt before.
Okay.
So the bands went across me. We had rain for maybe 2 hours from Helene. And I told my daughter that we dodged a bullet, but Western North Carolina was not. We had a storm that dropped a bunch of rain the week prior, and that storm went into the mountains and stalled out Helene, and she just sat there and sat there and sat there and dropped 31 inches of rain. on the hollers.
Yeah, yeah, and landslides and mudslides.
2,000.
Incredible, incredible. So, what did
Over
you
2,000 landslides recorded.
really? Woo. Okay.
127,000 homes. Niagara Falls force rapids in places that normally do not have rapids. We don't have rapids in North Carolina. We got creeks. We don't have rapids.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And we're probably still going to find and recover bodies from this that we don't even know about at this point. Agreed?
Absolutely. They are excavating a island in the Tow River near Poplar, near Green Mountain, that was created by Helene and the sand. That's the byproduct from the quartz mining going on in that area. It created a giant sandbar. And they're pulling, of course, all kinds of trees and things out of there. They suspect there's a missing man in there because they found some of his personal possessions, like a fiddle. And so there's no doubt in my mind, wherever there's a sandbar, that there's probably a body or a body part in it. Wow. And let me say, there's probably more body parts than complete bodies.
Whew. So when this touched your heart, you had to do something. What did you initially do?
Well, initially I couldn't do anything because of my responsibilities here. So I just kind of studied the situation. And then when it was time, I relayed some supplies. I was supposed to relay them to Spruce Pine, but the day that we were going to go, like, every door slammed in our face. I think that was him doing that. And we were guided to Deep River Farm because I happened to see a video of Wayne's the Thursday before we were supposed to go that Saturday to Spruce Pine. So that's how I originally met Wayne, and basically was just a relay person for supplies that they went from South Carolina, stalled out in Stokesdale, and from there I helped bring them 4 loads to Midway Wesleyan Church in Randleman.
Okay. And then the next step?
Then the next step was just getting to know Wayne, and he continued to share information with me. And in my study, I found a lady named Lee Brown, who's a realtor in Concord, who used Amazon registries to communicate the needs between the donors, and the ever-changing needs. It was just rapid fire needs. And I watched how efficiently she was able to move these goods up there. And when we knew that it was about to get really cold in less than 30 days, so I went to Wayne and I said, I've got this registry. And I asked him if he wanted me to make one. He never said anything about it. So I'm kind of more of a pray for forgiveness later. So I made the registry and let him know. And then it was beneficial to a heater Mayday that came out, the Buddy Heater Mayday. Thousands of Buddy heaters went up there. At least 950 were off the registry.
What's a registry?
So it was just
What's a registry?
It's kind of like a wedding registry or a baby registry on Amazon. This one's actually called a gift registry. So, you have a baby, you put the items that you need, and people can send them directly to your house. So it's the same thing. And I had them send the items to Bethel Wesleyan Church in Flat Rock, which was the hub of a hub and spoke system of the 21 churches originally involved. So the outside churches would funnel donations through Bethel Wesleyan, and from there they would go out into the mountains, into the devastation, and take it to where they knew people would make contacts, and it just snowballed from there.
So if somebody wants to help out, if somebody wanted to help out, they could go to Amazon and make a donation, right?
They can go to our website at operationmountainrelief.com, and there's a Support the Relief Centers page where they will see the Amazon registries at the top that I make. For instance, B-Log Community Relief, Christ Baptist Church. They'll see the little A for logo for Amazon, and you can donate directly to that relief center, or there's a financial support page where you can donate to Central Global Methodist Church, Bethel Wesleyan in Flat Rock, or Midway. They have accounts to help in different ways. So it just depends. Sometimes the relief centers are good for a while, or we'll have a Mayday where maybe one needs more products than the other.
Yeah.
But that's a way that you can go and see what their needs are. And if you don't shop Amazon, that's fine. But at least you can get an idea of what they need at the time. It's always basically protein, toilet paper, pantry items, food items, paper products. Sometimes you might see long johns, heaters, seasonal items. We were able to do a help B-log with a seed exchange in the spring last year. So we put some seeds on there and some gardening things for the relief centers. So there's been all kinds of things on these registries.
Yeah. You've got Redneck Housing on there. And I think we have Redneck Housing.
Yes, I did. I'm grateful for them.
Yeah, we just lost them. We had them. I was going to bring them on. So
I'm
much
grateful for them. I cannot believe they've moved their life here to help us and decided to stay. I just cannot thank them enough.
Amen. Amen. Try to get you on there. Are you with us, Redneck?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
All right. Identify yourself, sir.
I am Nate from Redneck Housing Relief. How you doing?
We're doing fine, and we have a friend of yours on with us this morning. I know you're keeping busy. And Holly said she's very grateful for what you guys are doing. It's just, folks, this is incredible. Holly, in essence, basically dropped everything, as did Redneck Housing drop everything, and this is what they're focusing on. Not all they're focusing on. Redneck basically that's all you're focusing on. Holly, you're spending a lot of your time helping out. Folks, these folks are just incredible. It's a blessing to get to know them and to make the kind of sacrifices that they've made, giving up everything, moving from Arizona to North Carolina, disaster area. And then Holly facilitating. You put the website together, right, Holly?
I did.
Yep.
Don't ask me what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Wayne
no clue.
Wayne Allred is a gentleman that Holly's mentioned. We've had Wayne on the program. Deep River, and he's on every night at 8:00. Just look up Deep River, not rivers, but Deep River.
Deep River Farm.
Deep River Farm, and you'll find out what's going on down there. I think we're gonna take a quick break, and then we can take the break. I want to get an update from Redneck Housing, and then continue our interview with Holly. If you would, Mr. Anderson, take us to a break. This is BJ Edwards along with Mr. Anderson. We're trying to help the folks. We are helping the folks in Western North Carolina. Americans that need your help, folks.
Last call with BJ Edwards. Real talk about real life.
We are back. I'm going to get back to Holly, but in terms of Redneck Housing, where are you at this point? What do you need?
What was that?
Where are you at this point, and how can we help you?
I am actually at urgent care right now. Our daughter was exposed to some pretty bad Stachybotrys tetarum and other things, and she's having some throat issues, throat swelling closed, and it's due to relief, getting into some nasties. So I'm at urgent care, waiting for her to finish, and then I'm going to go drop off a pallet of buddy heaters and toe warmers and hand warmers.
Good Lord. This is how people keep warm, folks. They're not in warm houses with heat. They may have a buddy heater, but they may not have fuel for the buddy heater.
Yep, that is correct.
You may be living in a trailer, folks. if you want to live in a cold place, live in a place that's surrounded by metal. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like an ice box.
Yeah, right. It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Yeah.
And that's what these trailers are about. Okay. I'm just telling you, they are not ideal for living in cold or actually extreme conditions one way or the other.
Yeah, no, our blower just went out on ours. We've been living in one for I think 15 months or something like that. And our blower just went out, so we don't have a heater. Kristen and I, we've just been layering up and doing everything we can to stay warm. Of course, we could go into our home isn't done yet, but the fireplace or the stove in there works. We could go in there and I guess sleep on a couch and stay warm if we need to, but we're handling it. 3 layers of clothes.
If somebody wants to donate to your cause, how do they do so?
They can go on to redneckhousingrelief.com and you'll find donation links there, or you can call us directly at 480-781-1772, and we can give you an address where you can send whatever you need to send.
What was that number again?
480-781-1772.
Okay.
Or they can send anything that they'd like to 43. That's 43 Biggerstaff Drive. All one word, Biggerstaff Drive, and that's in Nebo, Nebo, North Carolina, 28761.
Nate, I really appreciate you and the missus. I want you to get back to that urgent care.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't even know you guys could see me. I just logged on because I wanted to hear your show today. I was sitting here by myself, and I didn't realize that you guys could see me.
Well, we can. Get over it. Go ahead and mute yourself, and we're going to put you in the background. If you want to say anything, just unmute yourself, and we'll bring you back in, Nate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And God bless you, Holly. And if you need anything, you give us a call. You got our number. And
same to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And God bless you all of you. Thank you.
If you need anything, give us a call.
That's what Operation Mountain Release Coalition has been all about. It started out with Wayne going next door to Midway Wesleyan with calling around, starting with 21 churches. And now it has taken on a mind of its own. We keep finding folks like the Sarah Packs who are willing to help. And just a couple days ago, we found another relief center that needs help and possibly an Amazon registry. I need to call them today.
Wow.
We keep finding little pockets. It's like nooks and crannies in those mountains.
And that's not surprising. The folks are living there because they don't want to necessarily be in the public eye, if you will. They want to live out.
Correct.
And which is good, but it's also in a situation like that, it's not so good. And that's what you're trying to do.
It's a whole nother world up there. It's a very interesting place, very peaceful place. Salt of the earth people live there.
Yep. And part of the problem, I would say, is that these folks. Let me ask my audience: how many of you trust the government? Yeah. I know all the folks with Trump derangement system, how they feel about the government, at least when Trump's in there. But in general, there isn't a whole lot of trust for the government. I remember that when I was in the service, there was a term I learned: good enough for government work. Speaking of which, Holly, good enough for government work. How's the government doing in terms of helping the folks out in Western North Carolina?
F, from top to bottom. Haywood County commissioners, 4/5 of them would rather people freeze to death in tents than shelter them under a fairground shelter the first winter after Helene hit. Our governor is more concerned about the tourism initiative, which I understand Western North Carolina is about tourism. But why don't y'all come on and take a visit and go see those people in the tents and the RVs along the rivers that still have trash in them? Go trout fishing where there's no fish anymore because the water's toxic. But that's not his concern. His concern is Asheville and Biltmore Estates and Biltmore Village and the Banner Elks and the Boones. But he could care less. Oh, don't forget Chimney Rock and Lake Lure, the incorporated areas. But they could care less about the small little townships like Batcave or Poplar or Bernardsville that still got contaminated water, who's dependent on bottled water. Or Marshall.
Yep.
Where a plastics plant is still in their grounds. So he has his priority. Every time he gets in front of that podium, he pops up and down on his feet and gets a twinkle in his eye. Every I'm going to say quote unquote, natural disaster that comes through this state, he just gets tickled. So, but he's not doing anything. And then FEMA kicking people out of these trailers right before the ice storm came a couple weeks ago. They had until March 29th to find a new place to live. They had 1 day notice, and they're not living in anything fancy. They don't even get a full size single wide. They get that little old construction trailer that the foreman uses at the construction site. They're not fancy accommodations. They're not much better than an RV.
Yeah, how about bathroom facilities in those little shacks?
I don't know. They park those at an old RV campground. So they had to find places like that. They could not get those trailers or any sort of help into the hollers for a long time because of all the debris and the tore up roads.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very difficult to get housing into the mountains and some of those more secluded areas.
Of the damage that occurred, how much repair work would you say percentage-wise has been done in the past year and a half?
Well, if it's a state road or bridge, they've worked really hard and they've gotten the railroad up and going again.
Mm-hmm. But
as far as the private bridges, you're just out of luck. Unless you want to spend $350,000 that the NCDOT dictates. Or in another situation, have a funding like I believe it was Samaritan's Purse that helped a gentleman with his bridge, a railroad car bridge. That was about less than $150,000. DOT quoted that man $350,000 with no hope, no estimation of when it would be built. Meanwhile, this 80-year-old man is crossing a 3-foot wide, maybe, bridge that's made from 2 felled trees and 2x4s, crossing this little old rickety bridge about 1/8 of a mile from his front door. And between the end of that bridge to his front door are boulders and enormous rocks from where the flooding washed away the topsoil. So once he crosses the bridge, now he's got to, maneuver through these big boulders to climb up the hill to get to his house. Back at his house was hit with 2 landslides. Stories like that make me very, very, I'm over the flies with honey. Stuff like that makes me want to go for the tar and feathers.
Yeah, Tar Heel State. 431 homes repaired out of 77,000 is what I've got a note here from Nate from Redneck Housing.
Yeah. Say that one more time.
430. I'll let Nate say it. Nate, go ahead.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Yeah, so out of the 77,000 plus homes that FEMA has on their registry that they acknowledge, 431 of them have been repaired. None of them by state, local, or federal government. It's all been nonprofit, and it's terrible. It's sad. We're 17 months later, I believe now at this point. I don't even know. I've lost track of time, but
That's right.
things are starting to happen in of course in Asheville. And as long as you're close to Asheville, things are happening. But if you get out in the rural areas, there's things just ain't happening. They're not happening. And then, and there's so much that still needs to be done, and so many different organizations still holding on to funding. Kristen and I are actually entering a battle with the American Red Cross. They used us as their poster child to back in last January to announce their long-term recovery grant process being released. And out of the literally hundreds of millions of dollars that they've taken in, they only distributed 11.8 million, and that's in all 5 states. That's direct assistance to individuals. And then they announced that they were going to have about $100 million, I believe it was, into a long-term recovery program for nonprofits and stuff like that. They've only released 40 million of that between 50 different companies, and that is once again, it's just, the numbers are insane. They used us to promote the long-term grant. There's actually a picture of us on their social media, me and Kristen, with some of their workers, and talking about the good things that we've been doing and the benefits that we are to the communities, promoting the long-term grant, and then denied our long-term grant. So we are, and lied and slandered us on top of that. So it's we're fixing to enter a battle with them. I want accountability and I want transparency, and they ain't giving it.
And I saw an article a few weeks ago that Renew NC's housing portion is only built 14 homes.
Yeah, and I've gotten 4 cease and desist notifications in the last week alone from people that one of them, she lives in Swannanoa. She's very old, bless her heart. And we were fixing to go and put a new roof on for her because her house is, she had a tree crush it completely. She's got rain coming in every single time it rains. She's got holes in her roof that are making it so that she has to stay in one room and try to keep that room as warm as she can. We were fixing to go and bang out that new roof. I was actually going to do it today. And now that the snow has melted some, and 2 days ago, she sent me a notification stating that Renew NC told her cease and desist, do not perform any repairs, because I think what's going on is they accepted her application for assistance. But the problem is that you get slammed into a block of people that is like a 200 person block, I believe, or a 200 dwelling block or something. And you got to wait till every single one of them are.
Oops. I think we lost you. Maybe he'll come back on. Holly, at this point, what is the biggest need you'd say you have?
I mean, it just depends on the holler. Right now, it's freezing up there. The lady at the beginning, the Israeli lady, was talking about 40 degrees. That would be a heat wave for what we've had going on for the last few weeks.
Amen.
The wind chill's up there negative some days.
Yep.
Highest peaks on the East Coast are in those mountains. Mount Mitchell's 6,600 feet. So it gets pretty chilly up there. We need heat. We need food, water, shelter. That's what we want. We want the basic needs of a human being met.
Yeah.
We're not asking for frivolous. We're asking for met. That's
Food,
all.
water, shelter.
And we want these people who are dependent on these bridges to get their bridges. And FEMA can keep their 1,000-year flood zone. It's ridiculous. You cannot rebuild inside that flood zone. You cannot receive permits inside that flood zone. So what are they to do? Take the buyout and run, right? Well, some of that is inherited land. Some of that goes back to the 13 original colonies. So can we please support the people and allow them the opportunity to make the choice for themselves? This is like, was that maybe Pale Rider? Run them off? Squeeze them out? No, they can't have that land. No. They want it for courts. They want it for the future beast system.
The what system?
The beast system.
Oh, beast system. Okay, I thought you said bee system. Okay. Yep.
The beast system. They want to use that quartz. That quartz is very, very valuable up there. There's 2 mines in the world in spruce pine for all the semiconductors, coaxial, solar panel. North Carolina is worth billions of dollars in those hills. The first gold rush was in Western North Carolina at the Reed mine. There is an emerald mine up there. There are precious stones up there and gold streaks and lithium in Kings Mountain outside of Charlotte. They're already starting to contaminate the groundwater there. And every week I hear a new article about data centers won't in. There's one going near me in Stokes County. So that's what this is all about. And I don't know if your audience believes in weather modification, but I do. And I've seen patents. They go back to the 1890s for fog machines, earthquake machines, Project Cirrus, CIRRUS, was how they learned how to steer a hurricane. Hurricanes do not run ridges. Those mountains are supposed to be protective. But Helene ran ridges from Florida all the way up into Kentucky and sat there and did the excavating for them, because if you learn about the mining process, of course, they use water to expose it. So the sand is not supposed to be in the mountains. That is a byproduct of their mining.
Yep.
And if you believe, which I do, that this was a steered hurricane, that this was done intentionally, it was premeditated murder and genocide of the Appalachian people.
Nate, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
You want to finish the I don't know where you left off, but you were making a comment about something.
Yeah, I was talking about the battles that we're facing currently with the larger organizations, the larger nonprofits that took in hundreds of millions of dollars and still holding on to the funding. And you know, I mean, it's just sickening that like Samaritan's Purse, for example, still is holding on to over $100 million. Well, why are you still holding on to it 17 months later while there's still people sleeping in tents? I just don't get it. Red Cross, you know, I mean, it's insane. And, you know, when they want their paychecks, they get them, you know, since 2017 to 2022, the top 5 executives at American Red Cross have taken over $20 million in salaries. Now you didn't wait for your money. Why are you making everybody else wait for theirs? It just doesn't make no sense. And it's sickening. It's sickening. $8 million a year goes to salaries for the top 12. And you're holding all this money while you got fellow Americans that you used as poster children to raise those funds, and you're keeping it from them. I don't agree with it. I've got big problems with it. And I mean, it's just sad. And then the disparities report, our last disparities report that we just did, I don't know if you all have had a chance to see it or not, but it weighs in on some very, very, very sickening numbers that just make you sick when you think about it, and it's comparison to Hurricane Katrina at 120 billion, I believe, worth of damage, and received they're at, I believe, 80 something percent of federal funding reimbursement. Hurricane Sandy, 60 billion, I believe, 70 billion in damage, I believe, and they've received about 70 something percent of that. Hurricane Helene, $60 billion in damage, and only 10.6% received. And it's just, and then the way that the way that they let the communities themselves just completely suffer. When your economy, when you're washed away, you're hit with a disaster, and your economy is about to completely collapse. The predetermined government contracts to clean that up should not go to out-of-state companies. They shouldn't go to bigwigs. They should go to they should keep more of that money in the local economy, and give permission for the local contractors. They might not have the equipment to do it. Okay, I agree with that. Let them go ahead and subcontract that out. But at least the bulk of the money stays in the local economy. Instead of, you got companies, Aspirate for one, they come in, they take in all the multi-million dollar contracts, and then they go home with them. That money doesn't go back into the local economy. So you need to start rebuilding during your cleanup. That's the first thing to do after recovery, after all of your SARS, after all of your recovery, and then you begin your relief. You need to start your the local economy building, and the only way to do that is to provide immediate funding within. 10.6% is what Hurricane Helene has received as far as federal funding goes. And that is 17 months later. All the other ones got their funding at 70 something percent, 80 something percent within 90 days. And it's just, and then you get into the other numbers. Whereas, so Buncombe County had $50 million that they invested into cleanup. They've received a very high percentage of that back. You get into Yancey County, where they did their cleanup, and they've only received 4%. So your rural areas are suffering, completely suffering. It's not, I'm not trying to say that it's political. We're not political. I don't agree with any. I'm a rebel. I'm a redneck, and I don't believe in either one of them. Either side, either party. The best information I could give anyone is just to vote for the lesser of two evils. And that's the truth, because that's how I feel. And so, but it's very, very clear that if you live in Asheville, or if you were spending money in Asheville as a city, that you got reimbursed. But if you were in Burnsville, Barnersville, Spruce Pine, Newland, any place like that, you're waiting. You're waiting. Yancey County's received 4% of their reimbursement, and that says it all. So you get into your good old boy areas, and nobody, and the governments just don't seem to care as much.
Nate, we'll
get
sad,
man.
More information from you, probably in an upcoming show.
That disparities report y'all can find on our website. If you go to redneckhousing.relief.com and you click on the three bars on the top left, it'll drop down, and you go to current emergencies. When you go to current emergencies, pull up the disparities report, and you will be able to view it, and it will blow your mind. It is sad.
Thanks, Nate. JC, you got a quick comment, and then I want to give Holly a last word here. We're going to have to take a break here shortly.
Nate, I got a t-shirt that says Jesus was a rebel. Amen to you, brother.
I love it. I love it.
Let you two know that we got a little group of us up here, some ragtag people. We're trying to squawk as much as we can. And I agree with the weather manipulation. I agree they want that land. Our government's corrupt, and I do get political. So we are trying to contact as many people as we can. One with Norm and Mr. Edwards. I always keep forgetting to call him Mr. Edwards. But anyways, one of my things I'm doing, I'm trying to get a hold of somebody from Newsmax because I don't trust the news media. Newsmax, I like some of the guys on there, Rob Schmidt, Rob Finnerty, Carl Higbee. So what my idea is, we're looking for an independent journalist like that Nick Shirley that busted him up in Minnesota. Give me somebody like Cam Higbee. He's an independent journalist. And I'm going to ask these guys, Carl Higbee, send Cam Higbee down there and interview Nate and interview Wayne and Bud. Get this thing on the air so the American people can see what's really going on in the truth. So that's one little thing I'm doing. Plus, we're trying to get monies and some stuff, but we're working on it. So we'll keep doing it.
All right. Thank you very much,
JC.
You got the last word.
I think that's what the biggest thing that we need right now is just people out there talking about it. It's amazing to me that Wayne can talk about the dumpsters in the sky spraying all the time. And the worst suppression of his YouTube channel is Helene Relief Center updates.
Absolutely amazing. Holly, I really appreciate you taking the time with us today. James Bond,
pleasure.
Did you want in for a comment?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
You've got 2 minutes. Be quick, brother.
Real quick. In the holler where people are needing help, do they own that land directly?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is it
Many
land
do.
that right now the vast majority of them are not living in any structure, I say, or their homes? Is that correct?
Some are so concerned about losing their land that they are willing to live in tents and RVs on it to make sure that no one steals it.
Well, could they not come out of the holler to get stabilized? They still own the land. I would think there'd be support systems if they came out for a year. They're not going to lose the land, I don't think. If it's, I'm assuming it's either paid for or the taxes are minimal. Wouldn't they be able to come out of the holler, still own the land, stabilize, and then return?
Some could, I'm sure, but there's a different mindset up there with what their heritage has been.
Okay.
It's a different world. It's not the same.
Well, and I understand that, but it just seems they
And I
own the
can't blame
land.
them.
Well, but they're living in
I can't
terrible
blame them.
conditions. They're living in terrible conditions. And if their worry is losing the land, it seems to me that they're not going to lose the land. It's still in their name. It's still titled in their name, and that maybe they could stabilize in a healthier, a better environment till the cavalry does arrive.
I think Nate has a quick response to that. Nate, we've only got about a minute before we take a break.
Sure. So the majority of the issue with that is that if you're on your land, you stand strong and you can protect your land. The minute you leave that land, if you look at Cattail Ridge up in Yancey County, Pensacola area, if you leave your land, then that allows them to come on, pull a soil sample, claim the land uninhabitable and eminent domain. They take your land. That's why people are staying on their land, living in these conditions.
Interesting. Thank you.
And flying drones, doing geological studies with drones, flying drones over private property to spy on what you're doing.
Correct.
Amen.
I can't blame them. I'd be living in a tent too.
I love
I've heard stories. Even up here, you have a summer home somewhere in another state, and you're not there for a few months, and squatters move in, and the next thing you know, you can't get the squatters out of your own house. You own it, you have a deed, but you can't legally remove them. They got things.
One area. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say one area did not want FEMA coming in there taking soil samples because they didn't want FEMA in there interrupting their relief for their small town. They don't want them in there because every time they're in there, there's an interference of some sort.
Like you said, they want whoever they are, want the land. They want
Mhm.
they want the minerals. That is a
All right.
rich land.
All right. To
I've
be
been down
continued,
there.
The
folks. To be
courts.
continued. Holly, thank you. Nate, thank you. We got a guest coming on in the second hour. Holly, I love what you're doing. Nate, I love what you're doing. Mr. Anderson, settle down.
Thanks,
Oh, well, I'll try.
Okay. God
Mr.
bless
Anderson.
all of you. Second hour, we're going to talk
Bye.
about
Take care.
freezing the November election. Yeah. BJ Edwards along, Mr. Anderson. This is your last call. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Nate.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Keeping you informed. This is Last Call with BJ Edwards.
I've got a
I don't know if I have time to settle down, but I'll let you go and bring on our next guest.
This
Voting.
should fire you up. Oh no, stop. This should fire you up. What we did in listen, we have a leadership problem in America. A huge leadership problem in America. Part of that's coming from the fact that we are a spoiled, rotten nation. And we expect anything right now. If you don't get it to me right now, there's something wrong with you. And we have a public indoctrination center called public schools.
Yeah.
That are teaching.
Sorry.
Yeah, that are teaching from an ex-teacher that are teaching children that they're victims. And the only way that you're going to be able to survive is if the state, socialism, communism, if the state is your daddy. And we keep electing people that are not really doing us any good, and they certainly aren't representing America. I have a recommendation I'm going to make, but I want to bring somebody on that has a little experience in election integrity. This coming week, as I understand it, the Save America Act is scheduled for a review by, I believe, the House and then the Senate. And basically what this act, and I'm cutting this really short, basically what this act is going to guarantee is that when somebody votes, they're an American citizen. Well, how do you prove that? Well, you have to have an ID. Okay. We need to know that you are a U.S. citizen, although there are some states and local elections that allow you as a non-citizen to vote. That's crazy in itself. Anyway, they want to pass a law that says you have to prove yourself to be a citizen. They want to talk about that next week, and I can tell you right now, it is not going anywhere. Liberal progressives are going to stop this. And light-footed Republicans are going to apologize. And we're going to be right back where we were before in November. We're going to have non-citizens showing up to vote at the voting booths. Now, my idea is, okay, this isn't going to pass. So let's have ICE show up on that Tuesday in November. And they can do their own voter registration there. And those that don't pass can get on the bus, which is going to be headed south, or a plane that's going to take them back to their native land and reunite them with their families. That's a good thing, right? Huh? Aren't we the family guys, Mr. Anderson?
We're the family guys.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the cartoon.
Yeah. I hear that. I don't have a lot of experience in election integrity. I just don't have it. But I ran across a gentleman. I've been talking to him for the past couple of years. I want to try to bring him on if I can. Yeah, Mr. House.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Awesome.
Well, pleasure to be here.
All right. Talk to me about election integrity. And you're in the state of Michigan, is that correct?
That is correct. And I spent 3 years working as a staffer in the Michigan House of Representatives, so I have a bit of um, quite a bit of knowledge about how this system works, as well as a lot of the issues with our broken election systems that I've seen here in the state of Michigan. Especially, Michigan is a swing state, and but we've also seen a lot of changes made to the election systems here that have really created a lot of problems and have really sown a lot of distrust in public confidence of our election systems.
Yeah, and we're speaking of election integrity, and one of the biggest concerns that they're going to voice is that, well, we're going to require people who probably can't do it to get an ID. They're going to have to, it's going to be too much trouble for them to get that ID. What are your thoughts on that, Tim?
Well, you have to have an ID to go and fly a plane. You have to have an ID to open up a bank account or checking account. Why wouldn't we require the same thing for voting? And election systems have been designated as critical infrastructure by the Department of Homeland Security. It is a national security issue. So why wouldn't we do everything that we can to make sure that we only have American citizens voting in our elections? And even if you have one illegal immigrant that votes in our election systems, it nullifies the vote of someone who is a law-abiding citizen. So why wouldn't we do everything that we can to ensure that our elections are secure?
It's only one voter, or it's 10 voters. I mean, come on, let's be realistically here. That people that count the votes don't always get it exactly right. They may be off by 10 or 15 or 20. So what's wrong with having, somebody that's not qualified to vote? Give me a break.
Well, there have been a number of instances where we have had very close elections. They're only decided by a handful of votes. I was reading an article that was published by the Heritage Foundation saying that there have been at over 600 instances where of elections that have either been decided by one vote or a tie or a very, very close number. So the left likes to make this argument that, well, non-citizen voting is very rare. You will hear that repeated time and again by the mainstream media. But we should not have any non-citizens voting in our elections in anywhere in the country. But we also have a problem where there have been many documented instances of non-citizens showing up on the voter rolls in our country. For example, in Texas, they found over 2,000 non-citizens on the voter rolls there.
2,000?
Yeah, 2,000 in
Okay.
the state of Texas.
Okay.
And in addition to that, former Secretary of State, Republican Secretary of State Ruth Johnson found 34,000 potential names of individuals on the voter rolls in Michigan without matching social security numbers.
Interesting.
And it's a big problem.
So why so much resistance? Why would one party or why would any individual be concerned about that?
Well, I think you're seeing a lot of resistance from the left because they're scared. And what the Republicans are trying to do with this SAVE Act is push for additional safeguards to ensure that the states have the tools that they need to secure our elections by requiring proof of citizenship on the front end. The problem that we're having right now is that in a number of states, all that someone has to do is just check a box saying that they are a U.S. citizen, and we're supposed to just rely on our election. We're just supposed to trust our election officials to go and say, well, we're checking these federal databases, like, we'll prove it. Well, and what the SAVE Act does is it requires people to show documentation that they are a U.S. citizen before they are even allowed to, before governmental agencies can even process their application. So we need additional safeguards, and we need to make existing federal laws stronger and have more teeth attached to them.
But a photo ID is pretty difficult to get, and it's you're gonna have to have a birth certificate, and some people just, I mean, they don't have that. They can't get to that, so they can't vote.
Well, you have to have a photo ID to go and board a plane. You have to have a passport to go and fly to another country. So why wouldn't we have identification to go and register to vote?
Mr. Anderson?
Well, I'm wondering too. I mean, there's pros and cons. I have trouble with federal government running the show, but also I see some states who accommodate whomever. So they'll issue a driver's license to non-citizens, and you can say, oh, okay, you got a driver's license with a picture on it, so you must be whatever. It is a complicated situation that I see. Same thing, like you said, with bank accounts and other kinds of things. So even non-citizens can participate in a system that they're not really a part of by birth. And so, yeah, I'm not really opposed to the idea of having a birth certificate to prove you're a legal person to vote.
Go ahead, Tim.
And I would also argue that you have, like, there are a number of states that are proposing either constitutional amendments or legislation that's being introduced in state legislatures across the country to require proof of citizenship in order to participate in our elections. But I think that that's an important step in the right direction, but that doesn't really go far enough. The federal government has a compelling interest, because we're talking about federal elections. The federal government there's a compelling government interest in making sure that we only have American citizens participating in our election process.
I know that having a very, very good friend, my best friend, worked for a homeless shelter, and they told me that somehow, some way, identification is obtained by homeless individuals in order to get food. And think about all the illegal immigrants, trespassers that end up in housing. Boy, if you compare that with what's happening in Western North Carolina to what happens to somebody that trespasses in American soil and says, feed me, house me, educate my children. Boom, 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 taken care of. There have to be some kind of an identification going on there, right?
Well, there have been a lot of concerns over these illegal immigrants getting identification that's not really true identification, falsifying documents. We don't really have exact numbers of how many people are getting identification cards like that.
We don't even know how many are here, Tim.
Right. And
jeez.
For example, in Michigan, we have 91,000 illegal immigrants. That's nearly enough to fill up the big house. According to the Migration Policy Institute, that number is probably low. And you have a number of Democratic states that have laws on the books now to give driver's licenses to illegal immigrants, including Illinois and Virginia. And how many, and when the big question is, when these illegal immigrants are being given these driver's licenses, how many of them are actually checking to see whether, how many of these clerks are actually checking to see whether or not the immigrant is a valid American citizen. A lot of them, a lot of these poll workers are probably not trained in places like Illinois and Virginia on how to check for proof of citizenship. And then in Michigan, for example, we have a system where if someone is not able to provide proof of identification, proof that they are who they say they are at the polls, they can just check a box saying that, okay, I am who I say I am under penalty of perjury. But how many people, how many of the clerks are even checking to see that this person is who they say they are after they sign that affidavit? A lot of times they don't do it under the presence of a notary. And even when we even had a Chinese foreign national here in the state of Michigan who was whose vote counted because after the person signed the affidavit, the Chinese national came back and said, wait, I'm not really an American citizen, but the vote was still allowed to count because because Michigan has a secret ballot system. They put in the tabulary. There was nothing that the Secretary of State here could do to stop it. So in many states, we have election systems that are that have a lot of vulnerabilities that make it easier for bad actors to nullify the votes of law-abiding citizens.
Amen. Amen. You mentioned 90,000. 90,000 what? In Michigan?
That's about 9% of the state's population, because Michigan has about 10.1 million people. I'm sorry, about approximately 1%.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot.
Okay. And the 90,000 are illegal aliens, or?
They're undocumented.
Undocumented, okay.
So what I mean by that is they're not able to provide proof of citizenship. And undocumented is a category that the federal government uses when they're not able to provide a proof that they came into this country lawfully, whether they're a refugee, green card holder, visa, something like that. That's the category that they lump them into.
Okay. Tim, this coming week, the House is supposed to go over this Save America Act. What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, in order to, I definitely think that there's a lot of support across the country on both sides of the aisle for making sure that only law-abiding citizens, only U.S. citizens can vote. I think the roadblock that you could run into is in the Senate. There are many cases where they have to get 60 votes in order to get it passed the Senate, unless you use the filibuster. So that's definitely something that the Republicans are going to have to work through. But I think that I think if you talk to the average person on the street, I think a lot of these Republican lawmakers in Congress and in the Senate, I think they would find that there is very strong support in their districts, and they need to do what is in the best interest of the people that they were elected to represent.
Okay. Any other closing thoughts, Tim? And I'll let you go.
All I have to say is that we need to take election security is it's a big issue, and we need to take a very proactive approach toward securing our elections. We need to make it a year-round activity. It's not just something that we should be doing 2 or 3 months before an election. We need to be engaged year-round, whether that means building relationships with our local clerks, making sure that we have people that are checking, working with election officials to help them to, check the accuracy of the voter rolls. Like, we need to be engaged and really engaged in the whole process, because that's how we're able to effectuate change, is really by making sure that we make our voices heard. And so appreciate the opportunity to present on your show, and appreciate the work that you're doing, Jim.
All right, Tim, appreciate you, brother. Tim House.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
From that state up north. I can't remember the name of it. And I don't need you to remind me what it is. Just that state up north.
All right. Pleasure to be here.
All right, Tim. Thank you much. Mr. Anderson, if you would take us to break. BJ Edwards along, Mr. Anderson. We're going to kind of talk to Norm and get an update in terms of what he's doing with regards to the Western North Carolina situation, and where we need to go from here. We cannot, folks, forget about them. That ain't going to happen. That just is not going to happen. Again, BJ Edwards along, Mr. Anderson. This is your last call.
It's not illegal to record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Why are you taking my information down?
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist. So
we're videotaping you? Are you crazy?
Keeping you informed. This is Last Call with BJ Edwards.
If you see a need that you're calling, I'm going to bring Norm on. Norm, you kind of saw a need once we started uncovering what was going on or what wasn't going on in Western North Carolina. And there's other areas as well, but Western North Carolina seems to be the one in the most need at this point. What bit you, Norm?
Well, we had Wayne and Bud on. I think it was probably a month ago today, and the statement I made, I said, I cannot believe that President Trump knows the truth about what's happening over there, and I still believe that. And I just felt like the Lord was prompting me. Hey, as an old counselor, I'm programmed to find a solution. So we got busy and we've written letters for the people to send. And we tried to make things as easy as we can. We felt like we need to get a letter to President Trump, one to Melania, one to the Vice President, and one to the Faith Office, which we have those letters, on our website. Last week we put out an appeal, for this, and we didn't get any response from our audience. I've got to tell you, I was a bit disappointed, but hopefully that because we've got to have a lot of people sending letters and making calls, and I've had about 58 people that signed up. Part of those were people that I've called and asked to help out, but we had 60% of the people that asked for the information that actually opened the email, which was a bit disappointing too. So we've got to have a lot of people willing to help us. And if Mr. Anderson can put our website, our email, which is Army for NC@gmail.com. If they will email me, I will send them a link to all of our information. And this last week, I put out contact folks to Laura Trump. We put out her email address. That's, as most people know, that's the president's daughter-in-law. She has a show on Fox. We put out information to get to Flashpoint. Flashpoint is a Christian show that's on 5 nights a week. They've been known to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. We put out how to email Greg Kelly, who has a show on Newsmax. Steve Gruber, Jesse Waters. We've got his telephone number. You can call and leave a message. So we need people to make calls, to send letters. We've done the work. We've written the letters, and we're going to have more to come. Our next round of letters is going to be about facts. In other words, the facts that we've talked about this morning on the show that Nate and Hollie have talked about. And because, again, I don't believe that President Trump knows what's going on. And just a small, as Nate covered, and Nate and Christian sent me 4 pages or 5 pages of information. A very small percentage of money has been given to the Helene disaster, as was given to prior disasters. Only just a small percentage, and even the rural areas is what's hurt the most, and only 10% of the money for cleanup was given to rural areas, where 79% of the money was given to the cities. And so again, Hollie and many people I've talked to over there believe that the government wants the land, and big companies wants the land to get the quartz and the minerals over there. So anyway, it's going to take a lot of people, and I really stress. I mean, people have heard the need this morning from Hollie and Nate, and if you're not touched by that, well, you need to be. And so again, send us an email, armyfornc@gmail.com. So far, I've been able to send a personal email back to every one of these people. If I get overwhelmed, well, we'll do a mass email. I've got everybody put in a what's called MailChimp, where I can send out one email and everybody will get this. And on the people of contacts that I just put out, everybody that has contacted me, I've sent to. We don't have that on our website yet. We probably will have by tomorrow night. The guy that takes care of that for me is out of town today. So, and then we also put out a letter that you can send to your congressman, already pre-written. All your congressman's got to do is sign it and forward it on to the president. That will be on our website too. And we'll have other letters coming in the next few days. And I'm probably going to start sending out an email, just reminding, okay, hey, today, let's send Laura Trump. Let's focus on her, because I think she may be one of our best opportunities to get to the president, because she can pick up the phone and call him anytime. And of course, she was born in North Carolina in Wilmington, and you know, that's her home state. And we need to light her up, as we call it. So please email me at armyfornc@gmail.com, and we'll get you the information.
You mentioned a website.
Well, my website is countrycounselor.org. And if you go to that, you'll see at the top right, right under my chin, there's a picture of me. You'll see North Carolina Relief. And if you click on that, you'll see the letters that we currently have up. And again, I don't have the contact people on today, but we should have by tomorrow night. So if they'll go to that, but again, if they will email me, I'll put them on a register, and that way they'll get all the updates of everything that we do will be sent direct to them.
Countrycounselor.org.
Countrycounselor.org, North Carolina Relief. And we have the letter to Melania, where to send it, a letter to the president, letter to the vice president, and a letter to the faith office. And then we have a contact letter also there that has, I think, 3 contacts. I think it has Greg Kelly, Steve Gruber, and Eric Bowling. All those people have shows, network shows. I have seen all 3 of them interview the president, so they do have a way to contact the White House. So we just, and folks, and one of the things that I do at night, I may be watching a ball game and I'll mute it, and I'll Google SteveGruber.com, and I can send him a message, and I can do it while I'm watching a basketball game, or you can do this. You can contact some of these people in 3 minutes, during the commercials, watching your shows. So if people will take 10 or 15 minutes a week, that's all, 10 to 15 minutes a week, they can be a major help to get to these people.
Good. Mr. Anderson's got that country counselor up there. Great. And how long have you had this countrycounselor.org? How long have you had that website? How many years?
Oh, I've had it several years. When I retired from counseling, I had people to come to me wanting me to teach counseling. And I didn't want to, but after the second person, I told the Lord, I said, Lord, if one more person comes up to me, I'll get the hint. And I go to church the next Sunday, and somebody says, Norm, hey, why don't you put a class together? So anyway, so what I did is I put some lessons together, and I put them on a DVD and a CD. And when I would teach it, I had 3 pastors and their wives and a couple of other people. And so I would teach a lesson, and then I would hand them a CD of what I just taught. And then later on, somebody says, hey, Norm, why don't you set up a website and put these on there? So we've got a lot of information on there. And of course, if anybody, some of you know, I'm a poet. I've been writing Christian poetry for 30 plus years. I did that under the name Uncle Wisdom. I said, I don't write this stuff. I said, I've got an uncle that does it. I just get out and perform it. So anyway, we've probably got about 800 poems on our website too, in a variety of places. And we do 2 poems a week. We do one about what the president has accomplished. And then the second poem, we start with a scripture and cover the spiritual side of something that happened. And that's on the website too. You'll see President Trump. If you'll click on that, you'll see weekly summary. And we've got all of 2025, and then we started on 2026. This past week is already up. I usually sit down on Friday afternoon and write the poems and make the video, and my friend sends them out. So we've got a lot of information out there. But right now, our focus has got to be on these needs in North Carolina. That's a pressing need.
Yep. And you, of course, believe that Donald Trump is a perfect person and can walk on water, right?
Well, not hardly, but I do believe he has a good heart, and I believe he loves people. I think he's proven that. And one of the things I Googled this morning is how much foreign aid have we sent in the last year? And it's billions upon billions. And these are facts that we're going to have in our next letter. We're going to have the numbers of money that's been sent abroad and the numbers that's being spent here. And we're going to remind him also that, he has said that faith-based organizations need to have equal access to funds, and they have not. And even let me, since we're talking about this, let me read you. Of course, see, these funds come under the DHS, under Christian Owned. 957 million was provided for repair and debris, 632 million for public assistance. We've got 155 million for the disaster and 54 million. Well, that totals up to less than $2 billion, but this was a $60 billion disaster. And here they're bragging about giving us, $1.7 billion. And then Senator Ted Budd, he announced last week 233 million. Well, 200 million of that, it was a reimbursement to the state. So none of that goes back to helping the people. And right now, that money that I just talked about, these are FEMA grants given to the state. Those funds will not be used for private roads, bridges, or culverts. These will not help the more than 3,400 bridge sites as of today that haven't been looked at or claimed by any organization to assist in repair or replacement. I mean, those are some of the facts. I mean, people are, Hollie talked about the people that took 2 trees and put some 2x4s on them, walking across the creek to get to their house. And it's just, these people have just been forgotten. And so we've got to help. And we, the people that we're reaching out to and sending to redneck housing relief, that's for propane and heaters and just immediate needs. But, a very, very small, I think there was 400 and something houses that's been repaired out of, 78,000 that was damaged or destroyed. So, and it's going to take them years and years and years to repair. And it's just sad what's happening over there.
We have a lot of problems in America. We've talked about the ICE situation a little bit. What's happening in our government-run schools, what they're doing to our children, what they've done to families. Folks, we're an absolute mess. And I'll tell you what, let's take a break, Mr. Anderson, because I want to get a discussion about the church and how much a difference, not that it can make, but at this point, how much of a difference it has to make. It must make. Take us to a break, sir, and when we go back, we're going to talk
Church has a rainbow flag in the front. Run for the hills. If a church does not uphold the sanctity of human life, you run from that church. That is not a biblical church. If they did not confront the idols of this day, run for the hills. I'm trying to find a church. What are the questions I should ask? Are they biblical? Do they cower when the topic is controversial? If it's deemed politically incorrect, do they remain silent? You go every Sunday, and every single Sunday they only talk about blessing. God just wants to bless you. It's every Sunday. You're not going to grow. You're going to stay a baby Christian in that church. Don't go to the closest church to your house. Go to the closest church to the Bible. If they don't believe Jesus Christ is Lord, like Jehovah's Witness, it's not a church of Jesus Christ. Run for the hills. What do they believe about the Bible? Do they believe it's the authoritative word of God? What do they believe about heaven and hell? You want to be in a church that is faithful to the scriptures. If a church has a rainbow flag in the front,
faith, discussion, and so much more. Last Call with BJ Edwards.
The good news is that we live in incredible times of opportunity. For example, this is a great opportunity for the church to be the church. An incredible opportunity. That's the good news. The bad news is that we've basically fallen flat on our face when it comes to that. The saying, as goes the family, so goes the church. As goes the church, so goes the nation. There is a family aspect of this, obviously, in terms of the foundation. But if you take a look at today's church, how much appreciation do they have for the family? Oh, yeah. No. I'm talking about the family the natural family, the family that the Bible talks about. one biologically born man, father, one biologically born woman, mother, in a lifelong, that means no fault divorce. Yes. There's always exceptions. But we serve the exceptions in America today as versus the rule. Committed. That means one man, one woman, committed. Relationship with children, biological or adopted. We've lost sight of that, and it's difficult. Even if your church is willing to do what they need to do, it's difficult because the families are broken. The last figures I saw, and I can't figure out where I saw this, but I saw it was like 48 in Ohio. 48% of children don't live with their biological mother or father. To me, that's child abuse. And the ones that do, we send them off to government-run schools where they teach them that they're victims, that evolution is fact, life has no meaning, that morals are relative, multiculturalism, diversity. Man, not God, is the measure of all things, and the state's your daddy. Boom, 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 12 years. And of course, they send you back little Romans, if you will, when you send them off to Rome. But they don't respect the mother or the father, and especially the father. And feminization of our society has just been absolutely incredible. Take a look at the leaders on a national basis, or maybe even a local basis. The town that's next to me, I think they have a all-female school board. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
I got an interesting 1-minute video here of a foreign president describing what we look like to them.
Ooh, please don't play that, Mr. Anderson. You're going to upset some people.
I might.
How quickly can you play that?
Но они также не могут не отдавать себе отчет в том, что победить Россию на поле боя невозможно. Поэтому ведут против нас все более агрессивные информационные атаки. Целью выбирают прежде всего, конечно, молодых людей, молодые поколения. И здесь опять лгут постоянно, извращают исторические факты, не прекращают нападки на нашу культуру, на русскую православную церковь, другие традиционные религиозные организации нашей страны. Посмотрите, что они делают со своими собственными народами. Разрушение семьи, культурной и национальной идентичности, извращение, издевательства над детьми вплоть до педофилии объявляются нормой их жизни. А священнослужители, священников принуждают благословлять однополые браки. Да Бог с ними, пускай что хотят, то и делают. Что здесь хочется сказать? Взрослые люди имеют право жить, как хотят. Мы к этому так и относились в России, и всегда к этому будем так относиться. Никто в частную жизнь не вторгается, и мы не собираемся этого делать. Но хочется им сказать, посмотрите, извините меня, священные писания, главные книги всех других мировых религий. Там все сказано, в том числе то, что семья – это союз мужчины и женщины. Но и эти
What he just said, Putin, Russian leader, is basically what I just said to you.
Basically, yeah.
Where are the biblical standards? And I'm gonna make some friends here. I know that, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Where is the biggest need for witnessing in the world? Outside of the United States or inside the United States? You see what's happening. You just heard what the Russian president described. Marriage's not between a man and a woman. Children have multiple parents, multiple moms and dads, or none at all. And we need to be more child-centered, folks, in terms of our families. What does the child need as versus what we want, what pleasures us? The church has to get engaged here. I don't know. I'll get to you in a minute here, JC. I don't know whether we can do it without the church. I know we've been trying to do it without the church. Actually, the church in a lot of cases has been opposing what we've been doing, making fun of what we've been doing, belittling us, telling us we're not Christians. Go ahead, JC, before I go any further.
Who is that preacher you just played in that video?
That preacher. his name
he's not a good dude, but he's got some good points. I mean, just crazy. But they're just watching last night. They're playing that video of their new mayor in New York City.
Mm.
And he's speaking in Arabic, and he was giving verses out of the Quran. I sit there and just wanted to throw something through the TV. He cherry picked a couple verses out of the Quran about taking care of people and blah blah blah. It's like, and people don't even get it. They won't have a clue what he was just talking about. He did, and he even recited the chapter and verse in the Quran, but people won't know what that is either because they don't have no clue. But the churches sit around for the most part. It's just their own little families in that building, and that's it. They go in there and, look at our good little families we got here, and home they go, and they don't care about the rest of the families sitting out there in this country that aren't being churched. It's nuts. They was telling this morning there's, out of all the schools in America, 400 or 700,000 teachers, only 23% are men. They're all liberal women in them schools, and we wonder why we're so messed up.
Yeah, children. One of the blessings of a family is that we look for leadership. Every individual looks for leadership, and you find it in the family. And it has to remain consistent. One decade it can't be this, and the next day it's going to be that. It can't be that way. It has to be consistent, and it has to be natural. The natural leader in the family is the male. And for a lot of reasons. So you have the Ephesians 5 biblical, if you will, God, Jesus Christ, man, woman, children. That is a vertical relationship. Children are looking up. Mothers are looking up. Fathers are looking up. Leadership is so critical. And when you don't have it, look at Minneapolis. Look at Spokane. Look at the liberal cities in America. And what you see is a lack of leadership. It's not good, folks. And the church can help. It is an institution. You have the state as an institution, the church is an institution, and the family is an institution. The state is not going to help us at all. He who controls the information, they're run by the news media or politicians that get rich off of serving, public service. Absolutely crazy. But the church has to get engaged. It has to. And not half rear end. Okay? All in. To me, take back some of those folks that you're sending overseas and have those folks work in their neighborhoods. Again, I remember the conversation I had in church one time. A gentleman and his wife and family were headed overseas. And they're begrudging the fact that there was needs in their own community. Yet, They're calling. They saw needs in their own community. They saw in their own community needs, yet they went overseas. Or maybe we need more overseas ministries coming here, because there's a lot of them that are headed this way. Norm, go ahead, please.
Well, yeah, based on what you just said, the facts are we have more missionaries coming to America than America is sending out elsewhere. But anyway, that's the truth. Of course, we have the church that we drive by and we go to and sit, and then we've got the church, which is me and you and the believers. And I think it's so difficult anymore to find a good spirit-filled church, because the problem is so many pastors, rather than building the kingdom of God, they're building their own kingdom. It's in the numbers, and they won't speak out about the facts, about what's really going on, because half of their congregation votes for evil. And that's just the truth of it. I heard a sermon about 3 or 4 years ago by Shane Idleman. I don't know who he is. Don't even remember how I listened to it. He's from California, but he did a sermon on false prophets. And something that jumped out at me, one of the characteristics of a false prophet in the Bible was them not telling all the truth, just kind of telling the good parts, and God loves you, and you just go do your own thing, and He's going to prosper you, and they never talk about sin and repentance, and if you don't have repentance, you've got a whole host of problems. But it's back to the family, and of course, weak families lead to weak churches, and weak churches leads to a corrupt government.
But the church can help, Norm. It can help the struggling father, the struggling marriage. You know that.
Sure.
They can. It's like marriage is not. You have no fault divorce. That is absolutely insane. You're getting into I think about this situations they're having with college athletes, and they sign a contract with one institution, one school, and then somebody taps them on the shoulder and say, hey, you can get $1 million more if you go over there. And they go, oh, okay, no problem. They have no respect for the commitment they just made or the contract they just signed. And we're allowing that to happen. What kind of a message does that send to any child? What kind of a message does it send? Commitments don't mean anything. No fault divorce. What's going on with the college athletes? We have to, fathers, you need to take that leadership role. And it's tough to do because we've given so much to the other side. We've sat back and we're enjoying our favorite adult beverage, watching a football game, letting mama take care of the kids, may take them to their games or their functions. And you stay out of the picture. And then when your kids don't respect you, you complain. And you're complaining about yourself, about nobody else but yourself. And it has to, in your counseling, Norm, what have you experienced in terms of male leadership?
Well, it's not there for the most part. It's just not there. And the pastors, they're just weak in that area. Again, they're into numbers, and one of the things that you're going to see as spirituality goes down in a church, activities go up.
What?
Yeah, as spirituality goes down, as they get further away from the Lord, then they start developing programs, and they've got this program and that program, and they focus on the programs and all kinds of things other than, Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. And, and they've quit doing that. And so, if you don't have a pastor that is a godly man, he's not going to teach others to be godly men and to lead their families. It's not going to happen. And that was, I guess, one of the biggest struggles that I had as a counselor, is getting the men to stand up. And I always put the responsibility on them. I told a fella one time, I said, if your wife has an affair, it's your fault. He said, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. If a man will lead his family in a godly way, a wife will live in a tent with him. Okay, she will. She recognizes. Women can recognize a godly man and godly leadership, and so many men. Okay, I'm the boss. And that attitude doesn't get it. Hey, I'm the man. You're going to do what I tell you to do, or else.
Yeah, I checked my equipment this morning, so I'm the boss, right?
That's right. JC?
Culture has just decayed. I was just thinking about this. You're talking some of this stuff. The the 2 county fairs we got around here. Pastor Bill and some of us went to their fair board meetings because they were bringing in beer gardens into the local county fair. And the local county fair was always for kids, grandkids. Place to go get your hot dog, your pretzels, ice cream, whatever stuff, a little fun for the week. Well, they bring in them beer gardens, and boy, that we were hated when we come in there as a group of 10 or 20 Christians. Oh my goodness, they hated us. So that both counties got their beer gardens. They didn't care what we said. Pastor Bill even offered the one county down in Coshocton County. He said, listen, I'll bring my construction crew in. You want to redo them bleachers and the stadium? I'll bring my construction crew and we'll work for free and we'll help you improve them if you'll not put this beer garden in. They did it anyways. So now the other day I was listening, because now here in Mount Vernon, they got what they call DORA. And I can't remember what the initials are for. Have you ever heard of them? DORA in your community?
Nope.
Something recreational alcohol. You can walk the public streets with open containers. Down these 4 blocks, over these 3 or 4 blocks, all over downtown. Just walk around with open containers drinking alcohol. So what kind of message does that send to the kids? We just keep sending all these messages to kids. Ricky Miller there, I was talking to him. And we come up with this idea. It's like, hey, let's go down and round up about 20 or 30 or 40 homeless people. We'll buy them a keg of beer and sit it down there in a wagon. They can pull it around the wagon. They can all run around downtown getting drunk, all the homeless people. See how all the business owners like it. Ricky is all fired up. He's ready to do it. He's like, but it would just, that's just stupidity. But that's where we're at in our communities.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah. One of the things that we are seeing, we don't hear anything about it. There's a spiritual awakening going on. And it's not in the organized church, and it's a lot in young people and in universities, and we've got a lot of college athletes now that's standing up for the Lord and giving God the praise, and again, I don't think you're going to see a revival in the organized church. It's the revival, and the Bible says in the last days He's going to pour His Spirit out, but but on the other side of that, there's the spirit of evil that's being poured out also, and the dividing line is being drawn. You're either on one side or the other, and as I've said before, every person on planet Earth has a spiritual father, and it's either the Lord Jesus or it's the devil, and we take on the characteristics of our spiritual father, and that's what we're seeing out there.
I don't want a revival. I just want the church to do their job.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, listen.
But they're not going to, for the most part.
I get it.
Let me say this: Turning Point, Charlie Kirk, his organization, they have searched out good Bible believing churches across the country. You can go on their website somewhere. I don't know where it's at, and you can search for that, and you can find a whole list of churches that they have checked out and believe they're Bible believing. God-fearing churches, and not out promoting themselves.
Amen. Hey, thanks for listening today, folks. Western North Carolina, help out. Share this with your friends. BJ Edwards along with Mr. Anderson. This has been your last call. God bless you. Have a great weekend. And enjoy the Super Bowl halftime, but not the one they're showing on the regular TV. Go to Rumble.
Join us next week for Last Call. with BJ Edwards.